Welcome to BooTube, where the earth keeps secrets and the shadows bury truths. Tonight, we uncover a tale of fear, desperation, and the ultimate nightmare, being buried alive. Casey had always loved the thrill of urban legends and haunted places, so when her friends dared her to spend the night at Blackwood Cemetery, she didn't hesitate. The challenge was simple: stay until sunrise and prove she wasn't afraid. Armed with a flashlight, a sleeping bag, and her phone, Casey entered the cemetery just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The iron gate creaked behind her, sealing her inside. The cemetery was eerie, its tombstones weathered and leaning, names worn away by time. But Casey wasn't scared, at least not yet. She found a spot near a large oak tree and settled in, confident she'd be fine. As midnight approached, the air grew colder and a heavy fog rolled in. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. Casey tried to distract herself by scrolling on her phone, but the signal was gone. That's when she heard it. A faint scratching sound, like nails dragging across stone. She turned her flashlight toward the source, but the beam cut through nothing but fog. The sound grew louder, closer, coming from the ground beneath her. Her stomach twisted as she realized it was coming from one of the graves. "Hello!" she called, her voice trembling. The scratching stopped. She stepped closer to the grave, the name on the tombstone too faded to read. Suddenly, a muffled voice came from below. "Help me!" Casey stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat. The voice grew more frantic, the words clearer. "Please! I'm still alive!" Her hands shook as she dropped to her knees, pressing her ear to the cold earth. "I hear you!" she shouted. "Hold on!" Frantically, she dug at the dirt with her hands, soil caking her nails. The voice grew weaker, fading into sobs. "Don't leave me," it begged, barely audible now. Casey clawed at the ground until her hands bled, desperate to reach the person below. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into darkness. The voice stopped. The air around her grew heavy, suffocating. Then she felt it, a hand, cold and skeletal, wrapping around her wrist, pulling her down. She screamed, trying to free herself, but the grip was unrelenting. The last thing she saw was the ground opening beneath her, swallowing her whole. When her friends came back the next morning, they found Casey's sleeping bag empty. Her flashlight lay broken on the ground, and etched into the dirt near the oak tree were her final words. "They're still alive." Thanks for watching BooTube. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, some graves are meant to stay sealed, because when the dead call for help, they might not be the only ones buried.